Like with most of my illustrations, I like to concentrate on the most exciting detail. And in this case, that's clearly the subject of the illustration, this girl who's just going surfing. So I am going to start with her. But I think the hair is going to be the trickiest part to nail. So I'm going to actually start with the upper body and then maybe the surfboard itself. So let's get started. I'm going to use the pen tool because I want this illustration to be very clean and also just smooth curves all around. So I don't want to have lots of little details, and I feel like the pen tool is the best for this. So I'm going to draw one shape here for the upper body. Let's start creating this first curve. Now, one thing that you can do is if you already want to create a curve, you know that this point here is going to be a curve. Instead of just clicking first and then only start click and dragging in the next anchor point, what you can do is to click and drag already, even though you haven't created the shape yet. This will set up already the angle of your curve. So if I decide to go down this way, you can see it's already set up the right way for us. So that's useful, and it will help us at the end as well when we close this shape off. So I will just come down here, and then let's maybe create a sharp corner there by clicking one more time on the anchor point, create another curve up here, and I'm just going to come out here and then come up and click and drag, and then finally, if I just click and drag here, I just update that direction handle that we defined in the beginning. So that's one shape that we will need. I'm just going to change the color to this darker color because I would like to add some shadows. And for this, I will actually use the draw inside mode. So I select this shape, choose draw inside, and then still using the pen tool, I'm just going to start out here, click and drag. And what I want to do here is to define the sleeve and come out there. And then just fill in this area here at the bottom completely. So that's going to be this, and I'm just going to have to select that color again. So you can see we have the sleeve there already. And I will turn off the draw inside now because I will draw behind this shape to draw the other sleeve. That's just going to be a simple shape like this. And I'll send this behind the other one. Command left square bracket. And we can actually also already draw the arm. I'm just going to come down here and draw this. Again, it's going to be just a simple silhouette like that. Send it behind as well, just like before. And then we'll also have another shape here for the neck of this swimsuit. Something like that. Send it behind the other shape. And by the way, if you keep drawing things behind an object, so you want to keep things always going behind, there's also a drawing mode for that. So that's the second one here. You can always select that if you keep drawing stuff that you want to go behind. Like now, if I select that and I draw maybe something here, starting from this point, coming down, and then I'm just going to create this detail. And I change the color to the skin tone that I wanted to use. You can see this automatically ended up going behind this initial shape that we created. All right, now let's draw the hand. So for this, I'm going to start drawing from here and maybe come up to this corner like that and come down. And this can be done with a single curve like this. Let's keep going down. And sometimes what I like to do is to just simplify some shapes. So instead of me drawing all the fingers, I'm just going to keep this simplified and I will come back and add the details later. I just like to get the main shapes in place first to be able to better judge what I'm doing. So that's looking good, and this actually should be in front, so I will set the drawing mode back to draw normally, and I bring this up here. Yeah, is looking good. Of course, together with the sketch, we have a little bit more indication of what is going to happen here. but like I said, we will come back and add some more details later. Now I'm going to draw the pants or the trouser. So for this, I start from this corner point here. I come down, create the shape, and I will actually keep this smooth coming down. We can have a sharp corner here. Then I create a curve down there and come up and then go down again, sharp curve or sharp corner, curved line, and then come up here and maybe have a little bit more curve on this side like this. Okay, that's looking good. Let's close this off, set this to the dark color and send it all the way to the back. Yeah, that's looking good. Now let's draw the surfboard. For the surfboard, we can do a very simple technique. I'm going to click and drag here at this point and already set up my direction handle to be tangent to the curve. Then I come up here, click and drag it out as well in that direction. And I can change the color of this maybe to red, just so we can see what we are doing, and then use the Command or Control key to adjust this other handle. Now before I move on, I will use the Alt or Option key and drag this point down again, set up that tangent direction handle, which will allow us to create this next curve. And one thing that I don't want is when I connect to this point here is to mess up that initial direction handle that we created there. So I just show you this, what happens. If I click and drag here, you can see that both sides of the direction handle is getting adjusted. So if you want to avoid this, just hold down the Alt or Option key, and then clicking and dragging will only affect the new side of this curve. So I can adjust that and it's already looking perfect. Just a useful little technique with the pen tool to draw curves, where you have obviously two curve segments next to each other, but they are interrupted on both sides with these sharp corners. Now, if you want to round these up, of course, we can use the corner widget. Just add a little bit of roundness there and a bit more roundness on the other side. But for that to work, you have to make sure you only select one side. So use the direct selection tool. That way you don't see that corner widget. And when you're adjusting this, the other side is not affected. I like to use the corner widgets because they allow me to go back and remove them. So anytime I want to turn them back into sharp corners, I can do that. So it's a really good non-destructive way of editing your parts. This looks really good, but I will put this behind everything else that I created so far, maybe apart from this hand, which is supposed to be going behind. So you can use the layers panel, drag things up and down, or just use the keyboard shortcuts for arranging objects. I'm not even going to call these out. These are the ones I'm using. So the bring to front, send to back, or move them one step up or down with these shortcuts. So I use these all the time. I'm not going to mention it. So I'm going to continue drawing here. Let's just go down and draw the legs. Again, using the pen tool, we can come this way. I will actually use a clipping mask at the end to have all the shapes that come outside of the canvas or artboard to be adjusted and kept inside it. So I'm not worried about that at this time. I will send this back as well. And let's just change the color to pink just so we can see what we are doing. Yeah, that looks good. Now let's move on here. Again, nice little curve. Curve down, straight line. Then go up. I will add a little bit of curve here, a little bit of curve there. And then close it. Send it to the back. And that's looking good. Let's take a look at this without the sketch. Yeah, I quite like how everything is coming together.